What's up, guys? Doug Polk here, and today we're going to talk about my new show, Table Talk with Polk and Poppy. If you haven't gotten a chance to check it out yet, the way that it works is we have a bunch of subjects we decide we want to talk about and give each of them an amount of time. Generally, 2 to 7 minutes is the goal for each topic. After the topic is finished, a bell goes off and we move to the next topic. This way, the show keeps a nice, fluid movement as we go through different things around the world of poker. I thought that this show would be a great idea because there isn't enough news out there in the YouTube area for poker, and I kind of want to bring some of that stuff more to the forefront. On that note, let's go ahead and check out the main segment from this week's episode. We're going to move on to our next and main story here today on Table Talk. Phil Ivey with his edge sorting scandal at the Borgata at Crockford's. I'm going to kick it over to Joey to give us the rundown. Joey, tell us what happened here so we can
All
talk
right, so
about this.
I've been looking at this way too much, and I spent honestly way too much time reading about the story because everything we know about Phil Ivey, the Tiger Woods of poker. He's debatably one of the best poker players in the entire world, great reputation, everybody loves him. And so when this story first came out, I was really interested because I'm like, wait a sec, what edge sorting? What's happening? I really want to learn more about it. Is he innocent? Is he guilty? Is he getting who's wrong, who's right? So kind of from what I'm understanding is that Phil Ivey and his accomplice, Chen Yun-sun, I believe she's Chinese. So what happens was they ended up going to a casino, two casinos. One casino was in the United Kingdom and back in 2012. And how it would work is that Chen Yun-sun would end up speaking it would request a Mandarin dealer. They'd speak Mandarin to each other. And what they would look for is defects in the cards. So they would keep asking for deck changes until they ended up being able to identify some defaulty decks or something like that. And then Chen Yun-sun would then ask the dealer to turn the card an opposite way. And I think we talked about this, but I don't know how this is possibly allowed, but they're playing a game called Punta Banco. And Phil Ivey over at in the UK, he won 7.8 million euros. And I guess what happened was so they only actually gave him back 1 million euro and they kept the rest of the money because they suspected something was going on. And then also in 2012 at the Borgata casino, which by the way is very underrated. I love the Borgata. Once again, they pulled the old Punta Banca shuffle on them and they won they won about 9.6 million fucking dollars, Doug.
The Punta Banca shuffle.
The Punta Banca shuffle, man. Chen Yun-sun. You bring Chen Yun-sun in there. She's got she's the professional card spotter or whatever. So Borgata ends up paying them out. Then the lawsuit happens with the Crockford's place. And then Borgata, now they filed their own lawsuit asking for $15.5 million. The $9.6 million won back. The $249,000 in comps. And $5.4 million of expected losses,
which is by far the most ridiculous thing about this. Okay, if you're at the casino, and to be honest with you, I'm not totally sure what the ruling should be. Like, I'm not a lawyer. To be honest with you, it does seem a little sketchy, but possibly within the rules. I mean, the casino did oblige to everything. I'm not totally sure. And I know that our legal system will treat this much differently than in the UK. So it remains to be seen, even though he lost the Crockford's lawsuit, he did not get paid out, and he tried to appeal, did not go through. So basically, we know he's going to lose in the UK. We don't know what's going to happen here at the Borgata. But it's unbelievable to me for the casino to say, okay, not only do you have to pay us back what you won, you also have to pay us back the comps. And then you also have to pay us back what we should have won in house edge. Well, I'm not sure if they're familiar with how gambling works, but usually when people are gambling, they don't tend to bet huge when they're losing. Oftentimes if you're gambling, and albeit this is different because he had an edge and they were using a defect in the decks to get this edge. But when you're gambling, you're going to increase your bet size as you're winning. And so I think for a lot of people, if they had to pay back house edge on winnings, the number gets to be totally ridiculous, and it wouldn't have been that high to begin with if they had been losing.
Yeah, so kind of what I've been reading is that they're coming in high. So they're hoping for a settlement. So they're going to come in at this higher number. They're going to ask for this ridiculous thing of $5.4 million back and the expected losses from the hands that they played over these 4 sessions. And I guess maybe the main goal is to settle just and get their money back. And by the way, $249,000 in comps for 4 times. Doug, what exactly I mean, obviously, a guy like you, as we learned from your Paul Fua video, a man with millions of dollars. What exactly is $249,000 in comps? What can you buy? Like, what is he? Is he getting blood? I can't even make up a joke to understand what you could possibly be spending $250,000 on comps.
I have to imagine that there's some sweets involved, some popping bottles involved, some very, very, very nice dinners involved. I mean, I don't know, man. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of cheddar.
What kind of club?
Maybe private jet to and from there. Private jet.
Okay, I could see that. I mean, listen, right. I've been in the Borgata club. There's absolutely no way you're spending more than $1,000 at that club in any given night. But it's a nice club. But yeah, maybe a private jet, something like that.
Shout out to the Borgata club.
I mean, listen, it's a nice club. It's down escalators, but there's no way you're spending $249,000 at the Borgata nightclub downstairs. So, but kind of what I was thinking is that, does this bring into question maybe some other things, Phil Ivey? He's had a lot of success on Full Tilt Poker. He had a graph go straight up for $20 million ever since Black Friday and Full Tilt happened. Seems like you can't really win online poker anymore. I mean, should you feel, is there something we should come into question? He's been a live player for a long time. Obviously, he's probably looking for edges, and maybe it's a good or bad, right or wrong, who knows? But do you think it brings into question maybe a little bit of some other things he might have been involved with?
I mean, there's no doubt Phil Ivey's a hustler. When you're at the table with him, he's always trying to figure out what you're up to, what's going on. And you can tell he's very pointed with like what he's trying to figure out and what he's trying to accomplish. But online poker kind of takes away that side of things. Like, I don't think there's too much sketchy stuff that can really go down online poker outside of someone, putting a Trojan on your computer and then, well, I've been there. But anyway, the point is, I don't think it calls that into question. And as you can see, like lately in the last few years, you're getting crushed online because the games have gotten so much tougher. When I just did some videos on the top big pots from back in the day, and those lineups were soft, man. 501K was just straight up soft. Like, there'd be like a couple spots at the table that were like serious spots. It's not that hard to win when you're in games when the lineup is that easy.
That definitely makes a lot of sense. I don't think that's a big serious concern by people in terms of the online integrity of the situation on Full Tilt. But I don't know. It's always something that I think I've talked with some friends about, and you can't argue with the results. You go up, you go down. The game doesn't change that much, really, right? So.
It's changed a lot.
Yeah, I guess we're going to find out exactly what's going to happen with the Borgata situation. We'll be staying up to date with that.
If you enjoyed that segment and want to see the full show, you can check it out on Joe Ingram's channel. I'm going to put the link up at the end of this video. We're going to alternate channels on where the video goes to give a little life to both channels. So next week, it's going to be right here on my channel. Also, the show is live streamed on Twitch every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central European Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and 11 a.m. Pacific Time. So if you want to stop by, you can check that out at dougpolk.tv. Hop on in, get in the chat, and give your opinion as well. Oh yeah, and while I've got you here, I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.